Hey, good morning. This is Jared and Nate coming to you on Labor Day and trying to provide you some value as you're sitting there. Hopefully, you're drinking a cup of coffee and kicking back. It's Labor Day, man. You're not working.
It's time to relax. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you're not working, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, today we want to talk about kind of where we're at. Everything I continue to read, listen to, boy, it's so negative. It's tough to even filter out sometimes. But you can see it on the road. I've been on the opportunity. I have, been traveling a little bit this summer for work, and it's been interesting. No more than 60, 90 days ago, there were trucks on the road.
Yeah.
I was on the road last week, and that
seemed pretty bare.
Minimal trucks. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you can see it in people's financials. You can hear it when we're talking to brokers.
Yeah.
And so today, Nate, we're going to talk about a concept that I think is really important to talk about when it comes to uncertainty and what's that mean for my company?
Yeah.
What's that mean for me?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd rather have bad news than not know any news.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
And I think a lot of people right now are either sitting at home or, at their desk somewhere wondering if they're going to be here 4 months from now or 5, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So, the uncertainty is there, and I can see why people are stressing.
Oh yeah.
So
the other thing that's different about this uncertain time versus, like, let's say 2008. I was in trucking in 2008. There's some gray. I get it. I get it. But the fraudulent level wasn't as big as it is today.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You could get a situation here that fraudulent activity, even in good times, could put you out of business, right?
Oh, yeah.
So now we're playing a game of Frogger where you're going up and down the street, and it's on level 60, not level 2. You're not starting at level 2. You're starting at level 60.
Right.
Everything's moving faster. There's more trucks. There's more obstacles. There's a lot going on. And so today I really want to talk about how to just get through these waters over the next few months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a good value add to our viewers here.
Yeah.
Because we do talk to a lot of brokers that are very uncertain or they're shutting down. I could probably remember about 3 calls within the last month. I've had a few brokers telling me they're shutting down.
Yeah.
So I know this is tough times. So hopefully we can add some value.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't read, and I'm going to reference a few things here. This isn't my idea. These are ideas that I've read. I've read so many books. But if you've ever had a chance to read anything by Jim Collins, Good to Great, Great by Choice, he is the one that really kind of talks about this concept. Okay. Craig Rochelle, even Bill Hybel, those guys have talked about this. But I want to talk about a 6x6, right? And what I want you to do, or what I'm hoping that people do, is they go out and get some note cards. Okay, get the 3x5 little recipe cards. The grandma wrote everything down on.
Yep.
There's a lost art.
Yeah.
Grandma's not around anymore for me, right? Yep. And she's not writing note cards.
No.
Right?
No.
Even the grandmas of today are not writing note cards. My wife isn't writing a note card. Yes, everything's writing. Right?
Yeah.
But what I want you to do, go to the vintage store and buy note cards.
Step number 1.
Step number 1. And here's the important part, right? We deal with a lot of solopreneurs. We deal with a lot of people just sitting at their house. You need to find an accountability partner for this exercise to work.
Yeah.
Right? So we've got note cards and we've got an accountability partner. And that accountability partner needs to be somebody that's pretty black and white with you.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
And my ultimate goal with this exercise is when you get these note cards, you've got your accountability, we are going to talk about what it looks like the next 6 weeks and 6 tasks that you can accomplish, small bites, right? In order to move your business along, in order to move your employees along. We're going to talk about it from 2 different aspects.
Okay.
From a leadership aspect, and you have employees underneath you, to a solopreneur aspect. So we're going to talk about both levels, right?
Love it.
But here's what I need you to think about is, in order to be intentional with your time, right? It's going to take planning, right? We need to go, well, should I do this today, right? We need to be disciplined with that planning. And we've got to be determined, right? We've got to have a high action function that says, hey, I'm going to get this done today. So we're going to take out our note cards, and you and I are actually going to write an eCarrierCheck one. I've got some ideas here. But what I think is really important is, let's talk about it from the solopreneur standpoint first. Okay. You know, this guy or gal is sitting at their house. They may struggle with an accountability partner unless it's some family. You know, a lot of people don't have mentors.
No, not at all.
Right. And a lot of people, to a certain extent, are sort of, they feel alone.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, they're working by themselves. They're making these calls by themselves.
Right.
You and I, here's something that's a blessing for us, is you and I are getting out where you'll make calls, and you and I will break down, how did that call go?
Right.
What could have been different?
Mm-hmm.
What could I have done better? What did I do good at? Right. You got to give yourself some credit.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. And not a lot of people get that freedom to do what we just, what we do on our Friday lives, right? So they don't get to talk it out or discuss those things.
Absolutely. So. Yeah. So here's what we're doing. Our goal is to write 6 action items that you can do over the next 6 weeks in order to get those done. And we're going to start with business-minded functions. And I want you to be really, really detailed with these things. I don't want you to say, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to say, I'm going to lose weight by, right? So let's talk about our 6x6. Well, let's talk about the leadership style real quick. From a solopreneur, find that accountability partner, find that mentor, and you've got to set calendar reminders and stay on tasks, because it's so easy to scroll. It's so easy to flip your TV on. Yep. It's so easy to just get up, go get a cup of coffee. You got to grind.
Yeah.
And you got to stay at your computer. You got to stay at your phone, and you've got to grind.
Yep.
Right. And so this is why you're going to have that note card. Imagine this is my digital note card.
Right.
And it's going to sit in front of you for the next 6 weeks. Right.
Yep.
You're going to see it every single day when you walk up to your office space, your computer, your little business space in your house or at your office, and you're going to say, I haven't moved that forward. What can I do today?
Yeah. Yep.
Right. In one of Jim Collins's books, he talks about the 20-mile march. And the 20-mile march is a story about two, this is when people were still discovering the earth, but 2 essentially teams landed on Antarctica at the same time.
Okay.
Right. And this was earlies, right? Very early on in Earth's time frame, 17, 1800s. It was a documented function. And there were 2 teams that landed on Antarctica. And I'm going to botch this story a little bit. Check out 20-Mile March, Jim Collins. And the one leader was, he truly was, he discovered so many different islands, so many different places. Incredible leader, had a good team behind him, but was fairly aggressive, right? The other leader was a conservative leader. He had a smaller team with him, and he just wanted to get there, and he wasn't on a race against anyone.
Right. He
was there to be on a race against himself. He was there to really just go out and get there, whether he was first or not. He didn't care. Right. And the concept of the conservative leader was, I know it's going to be treacherous. I know it's going to be tough. There's a possibility I lose some people, right? But I'm going to march 20 miles a day. And no matter what, I pick up my feet, I pick up all my stuff, and I'm going to march 20 miles a day. And I'm going to make sure my guys are hydrated. I'm going to make sure that they're healthy. I'm going to make sure that I'm giving back to the people around me in order to get to that 20 miles, right? The aggressive guy, though, he actually was like, I bet I can do this in 10 days less than what people expected.
Yep.
And the first day he went 80 miles. Right. And his guys were tired.
Yeah.
Right. They had health issues immediately.
Yeah.
Right. They went, on that level where they just went for 80 friggin' miles, and it probably took them more than one day, right? They just kept going, right? And the aggressive guy in the book here, he almost gets there, and he's lost a few men, right? And what was really interesting is the guy that did the 20-mile march, that made sure that his guys were healthy and made sure they were, staying up with the food, those consumption functionalities to be in those treacherous conditions, uncertain conditions. He beat him by 10 days. And if you stay on this 20-mile march, this 6x6, this concept of how do I just bite off a little bit right now, right? That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So from a standpoint, obviously we're doing 6x6. We're going to do our own 6x6. I got some ideas here, but I want to talk about it from a leadership standpoint as we transition here a little bit. A good leader is going to take his 6x6 and break it up into two different things, right? The first half is going to be and has to be around your team, around your culture. It's got to be one of those things where it says, hey, you've got employees, you're responsible for them. You've got a culture that you've built, you're responsible for that. And your action items need to be around how to improve your employee morale, how to motivate your employees further in times like this, right? It's all boots on the ground. We all got to pull up our boots. And that leader, when he's setting his 6x6, he needs to think about the first half. How do I give back? Because that's the only way you're going to get there. The other three are going to have to be self-motivated, in my opinion, right? So if you're a leader and you're watching this and you have employees, whether you have 2 employees or you have a 20 employees team or a 100 employee team, you've got to be thinking about, where's my culture? What can I do to help our employees? That uncertainty, not only does it go through you as a leader, as a business person, it goes through your employees too. They hear it, they see it. We need to tackle it together.
Right.
And that was a lot of talking, Nate. What are your thoughts?
Well, so I enjoy this because, if I had to sum it up in my own opinion here, we talked about the guy that kind of rushed things, the aggressive guy, right? Yeah. The aggressive leader. He almost didn't really think about his employees at that time. Thought about himself. How can I get there? Yeah. When this is honestly a team effort.
Absolutely.
The guy that was less, aggressive, obviously, like you mentioned, hit it on the head. He took care of his employees. He figured out what they needed in those times. He knew what he needed to get them in order to get to where they needed to be. Yeah. And a part of me felt like he held himself accountable to be that leader that they needed him to be. Yeah. I mean, if you don't have a leader, you don't have anything. Right. You know what I mean?
We're out.
I mean, with everything, you know what I mean? So it's a good story to kind of think about, especially for those that are either a leader or at home, trying to help keep your company, afloat, or just trying to keep your dreams alive. This is stuff that we got to think about and, just reflect on some of these things.
Absolutely. And when you're a solopreneur, you've got to take on that leadership hat. And to be honest with you, the hardest person to lead is yourself. Mm-hmm. Right? So staying on task, setting calendar updates. My calendar is crazy. Oh, yeah. And sometimes, I hate to say this, if I have a meeting with you, I'm like, well, I can push it 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. I apologize. Right? That's on me. Yeah. Right? So it's easy for you as a person, if you have it on task, to do those things. Right? So those are the things that we talk about in our 6x6 that we're going to write today. I wrote down some ideas, and and this is in no particular order, right? But I think it's important that we all march together. Whether you're watching the show, whether at eCarrierCheck, you're at your brokerage, you're at your dispatch company, your trucking company, whatever it may be, you've got to find a way to cut costs and you've got to be really, really intentional with your time.
Yes.
How do you move a wave with a footstep, right?
Yeah.
It's going to happen, but how big of a wave are you going to make?
Right.
So we've really got to take a moment to think through this and be really intentional. So here are some things. Okay. Here's our 6x6, and I think this is kind of interesting, right? And I have this in no particular order.
Right.
I can't say that number 1 is more important than number 6. I want to move all of them equally. Okay. Number 1, I want to continue to provide more value for our clients. Right? And we're going to do this by. Right? I think you have to say that every time.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to lose weight, and I'm going to do this by. We're going to provide more value for our clients by pumping more and more YouTube, right? You started making shorts. Right. We're out making these videos. This is a separate video than our normal lives because we want to help.
Right. We're back to doing live demos.
Yes.
I think that personal touch, that face-to-face over Zoom, it really does hit differently. Because you can feel someone struggle through the camera. It's weird, but you can.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can see it on their face. You can hear it in their voice. You absolutely can.
Yeah.
So
that's a good one.
Number 1, provide more value, and we're going to do that by creating more YouTube, more shorts, more things that allow people to go, wait a minute, I can do this. Right. You know what I mean? Yes, we sell an incredible software that's literally hands down, in my personal opinion. I've fought through it. I've been through it. You can source carriers, you can find shippers right on our platform, and you can make a living doing it.
Right.
I've seen it. Multiple people doing it.
Yes.
Number 2, we're going to evaluate our costs, right? As a leader, as a team, we need to look at our costs and say, what can we cut right now in order to, run a lean and mean machine, right? And that could be silly stuff, right? It could be, how are we going to cut our costs? We're going to cut our costs by looking at our credit card statement and seeing what subscriptions we pay for, right? We're going to look at those little things that allow us to go, okay, we can do this. Without this, we don't probably need it for a little while.
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So there's number 2, right? Number 3, like I said, this isn't no particular order, but we're going to go to a conference in the next 6 weeks. We're going to a conference.
Yep.
And I'm excited about that. We get to meet new people.
Yep.
I love building and making new relationships. Mm-hmm. So we're going to go to a conference. So although that doesn't take a lot of effort besides pressing some buttons and getting an airplane ticket, it's still something intentional that we're thinking about.
Right. And I think that reflects back on cost too. We got to watch back on costs so we continue to do things like this to help grow ourselves.
Absolutely. Number 2, or another one here, is give Nate a break. You work your ass off.
I appreciate that.
We'll have to look at this. We're 6 to 18 minutes in. I probably have to delete that out. You work very hard, and something that needs to be on your 6x6, in my personal opinion, is how do you fill up your cup, right? And what I mean by that is I have people in my life that do either one of 2 things. They either A, they fill up my cup, right? Or B, they drain from my cup. Mm-hmm. Now, there's a balance here. I don't mind emptying my cup. I like filling my cup, right? There's a balance here. And if your cup has been empty for too long, you start getting burnt out. You start not seeing things right. You start to become more selfish. You start to become more, those things that come in life.
This will essentially lead you to being that aggressive leader.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Make sure your cup is full.
Take those breaks.
Take the breaks. Surround yourself. I got to say, my family fills my cup. Yep. Now, not every night. Last night was more challenging. We had laundry to put away. That's a whole nother friggin' discussion. We could have a show on that. But normally, I get the opportunity to fill my cup being around my family. Right. So I'm excited for you to take a break. Yep. And you're off for a little while, and I'm super fucking jacked.
I appreciate it.
I don't know if that's probably going to have to be cut out too. I'm sorry. So there's that. Okay. Now here's some interesting action items that I think are really important and something for you to think about. And I've been in one fight. I was in third grade. We left the school, the playground. We had a dirt gravel school yard. And these two kids, they were sixth graders. I was in third grade. I got to the corner. I was two corners away from my house. Just to kind of put that in perspective. I lived here and I was right here. And these two kids didn't really care for me for whatever reason. I don't think I was really mouthy, to be honest. I was a pretty quiet kid.
Yeah.
And we got some kicking. You know what I mean? They kicked me down. It was really tough. And then I got kicked on the ribs and stuff. It was really challenging. However, I do enjoy UFC. I enjoy watching fighting.
Yeah.
Come full circle here. And I think it's important when you're in a fight to lean in on punches.
Interesting.
Right? Because if I pull back and he happens to catch me, I'm going night-night.
Right.
But if I keep coming in and I keep fighting and keep looking at that, so we are going to ramp up our marketing. Because in a fight, we're going to lean in.
Right.
And that's my opinion. So we're going to ramp up our marketing and we're going to put more money on Facebook, on TikTok, on YouTube, because we are going to ramp up our marketing, and we'll probably do that by, hey, it's going to be, instead of $25 a day, it's $50 a day.
Right.
So we're going to lean into this fight. I don't know how long we have to fight for, but we understand our balance. We're going to fill up our cup. We're going to keep going. We're going to cut our costs in order to lean into this fight. Right.
We're prepared to go the 5 rounds or 10 rounds if
Let's
talking
go.
boxing, but we're here, ready to fight.
Absolutely. And last but certainly not least is we are going to be more intentional with our time. Nate and I have had, and we're going to do this right? But Nate and I have had the opportunity to start doing outbound calls. And a lot of our business has always been inbound. We've had the ability to, get a lot of leads.
Mm-hmm.
And we've always done inbound kind of marketing, if you will.
Right.
Now we're doing outbound marketing, and hopefully we can, steer the ship.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. So hopefully. If you guys get a call from one of us, let's
just
chat it out.
Just take it. It's Jared and Nate.
Yeah.
Right. So we're gonna start doing more outbound, and we're gonna do this by cold calling 10 brokers a day.
Yep.
Or carriers a day. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important. And those are our 6x6, right? You're taking a break. We're going to provide more value. We're going to evaluate our costs. We're going to a conference. We're doing more calls. We're leaning into the punch, and we're going on Facebook.
Boom. I love it.
I do too. And that's manageable.
Right.
I don't need to watch CNN and Fox to know that the economy's down.
Right.
We hear it from our clients, from everybody here, the people that are making our ability to be here, right? From our viewers. We love you. Thank you. Comment, review us, Google it, hit all of it. We love that because that's how we grow, right? So those are my thoughts with our 6x6.
I really enjoy it. It's very personal to us as a work, as what we do over here, and it's like you said, it's achievable. We didn't come out here saying we want to get to 1 million subscribers on YouTube.
No,
we could have easily wanted to do that, but that's not our goal.
No.
Our goal is to provide value for you guys and for ourselves.
Yeah.
So I love these goals. The 6x6. I love it.
Let's roll.
Yeah.
Guys, we appreciate you. We want to hear from you. We've always said, send us your calls. Do whatever it takes to get through this time. You've got to grind. You've got to be intentional. And we appreciate you watching. I hope you have a great rest of your week. Be intentional. Write your 6x6 down. Share your 6x6 with us. We'd love to see it.
Yeah.
And just want to help you with this journey. I hope you have a great day. Thanks for being on.